Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is James Sanderson. It's a very great pleasure for me to welcome you to our Zoom call this evening. 30 minutes of utter inspiration every Monday night at 8:30, and we were running till 9 o'clock. This week we have an amazing, wonderful thing for you. We have Dr. Sven Goebel, who is from our corporate office in Basel, and he's going to be joining us, so that is really, really amazing. So we expect a fantastic call tonight, and I'm going to hand over to Gordon Wilkie now, who's going to introduce Sven, and he's going to interview Sven. So over to you, Gordon.
Thank you, James, and good evening, everybody, and special welcome to our guest speaker tonight, Sven Goebel. And just by way of introduction to Sven, and I've been kind of blessed in many ways to actually spend some time with him on an individual basis and in a group basis over the last couple of years. And, just checking through his own CV in terms of where he's come from. And, I'd just like maybe to kind of share some of the information about Sven and how privileged we are really tonight to have such a megastar effectively on our call, and someone with an amazing grasp of our kind of network marketing business. And, I know that you'll all kind of hopefully kind of get some great tips and information from him. But Sven's career spans now over 20 years within the network marketing business. And his original career started in 1992 with a company called NSA. Now, have we all heard about that one? Yeah, it's the company behind Juice Plus, and that's exactly where he started his network marketing career. And at the same time, he was studying to become a doctorate, and he managed to kind of run a network marketing business alongside effectively his full-time academic career, and managed to achieve both, and then went on to become a consultant within the industry, and then developed his own network marketing franchise, became massively successful, earned over $10 million during his career, which, as I said, spanned 20 years within the industry. And then 2 years ago, he got a phone call from a very good friend of his who'd actually watched him grow over the years. And we all know this person as the CEO of Juice Plus in Europe, Dan Holtzman. And Sven was invited effectively to join as the vice president for Europe and on the sales and marketing side. And he decided that whether the offer was too good to be true, but certainly he decided that this was something that he wanted to do. He effectively turned his back on his network marketing business, and now is effectively a full-time employee of our business. And together with his family, Audrey and his children, they live in Lucerne in Switzerland, and they operate their business from the European headquarters in Basel. So I'm going to turn this over to Sven, and I've got a number of questions for you, Sven, which I think everybody on the call tonight would be very interested in hearing. I've probably heard privately over the course of the last couple of years, but number one, what attracted you to Juice Plus in terms of the business after all those years working as a network marketing professional? What was it that attracted you when Dan Holtzman made that call to you 2 years ago?
Yeah, thank you very much for that great introduction. And it's an honor for me to be on the call tonight. I really start embracing and loving these Zoom calls because it's really like a live meeting. Everybody can tune in. You even see the faces. I think this is fantastic. Just as a feedback, can you hear me well? Is the audio good?
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Okay,
yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, as you indicated already a little bit, like in our business as a network marketeer, people buy people. And it was in fact Dan I bought into at very first when it was about the discussion whether I should join or rejoin Juice Plus or not. But actually this has been going much, much longer than just 2 years, because we've been knowing each other already for 19 years, Dan and I, and we kind of always had a little bit of contact together. That most of you don't know that, I did a project with him about the HLS, the home delivery service, the AIOs actually, the AIO business in 2001. So during my consultant time, before I joined my last network marketing company, I was working with him on a project for 6 months in the Basel office, in the old Basel office in the meantime, and we never lost contact since then. And when my family and I moved down to Lucerne, away from our chalet in the Alps, because my son was starting to go to school there, we met again on Facebook, and I said, you know what, actually we are neighbors, we just live 30 minutes apart from each other. And he said, yeah, why not meet, you know? And over the past 6 years, actually, we had that jour fixe once a month on a Friday. We met in the Park Hyatt in Zurich, and we just met there from 10 to 12 and had some lunch together afterwards, and we just started to talk. And it was kind of a vice versa inspiration. I shared a lot about my network experience and how I built my businesses. And at that time, I already was retired. You know, I stopped in 2008 to drive my European business. I left it to my leaders. It was a very, very nice business. And I always dreamt to have a global organization. So from that year on, I actually built on other continents because I like traveling, I like flying, spent a lot of time in India, almost 3 years to build there. I mean, living there, but going back and forth for 3 years, right? I did the same in Russia, Ukraine, Australia, and some countries really worked well, some didn't. It's like with you, sometimes you have the leader who can manage it, sometimes doesn't. But I had some great global experience, and I also felt, you know, giving space and ownership to my leadership here in Europe, it made them even stronger. So as a leader, you know, over time, you got to step aside a little bit and let your people grow and flourish. And this was really a good time for me. So the cash flow came in, and I was kind of semi-retired, let's say. And I felt that this was making me not happy, but over time actually more unhappy because, you know, my learning curve kind of flattened down again. I didn't have the purpose and something to conquer and to go for. And being at that time just 48 years old, I kind of felt this year too young for that, right? And so when Dan and I started talking over all these months, we reached a point where he said, you know, there's a lot of things happening in the Juice Plus company, and especially when social media kicked in, he knew that this would change, I wouldn't say everything, but it would have some major changes implemented. And he knew that I was driving my international business through social media already since 7 years, and since it started, because I got a very early hint many years ago that I should start to look into it. And like most, I reacted, said, you know what, social media, Facebook stuff, forget it. I don't have time for that. But after that person stayed on me and said, you know, kind of insisted that I would do it, I learned it, I embraced it, and I saw a huge opportunity. And that was actually what we were talking about all the time. And suddenly he said, you know what, there's a few young guys right now showing up who try to build their business through social media. There's an opportunity. I think, and I've already at that point found, since I was almost 50, that social media is nothing that has to do with age, but you need to have the will to do it and to kind of transform and adopt new things. And for me, it was so exciting because it actually forced me to get my learning curve back steep on again, because there's so much new stuff to learn, as you all know, in the meantime. And I loved it, you know, and I fell in love again in a new way with what we've been doing for over 20 years, using it and leveraging it through the new media. And I knew that it would have a different kind of relationship with people, that it would open up new opportunities, that geographical boundaries would drop. I mean, you know, it was like something, what I saw happening, which was so...
He's muted himself. Sven, I think you've muted yourself.
Okay.
James, you've unmuted everybody.
Sorry. If Sven can mute, if Sven can come back on again, and then I'll mute everyone again. Sorry about that.
Okay. Okay, does it work now again?
Yeah, that's it. So Sven, what's just kind of, what is your role within the company? Tell us a little bit about your specific role now within the company.
Yeah, you know, today my function was to be responsible for business development. That means to work closely with the leadership and to help them to explore new opportunities, to help them with their systems. I learned a few years ago that today you need to really run a strong system as a leader in order to drive your organization successfully. I did that before. I've seen a lot of colleagues and other network marketeers in the industry run systems. I studied them, I learned a lot about it, and there's huge value in it. Kind of optimize the DMOs, make sure you have an incredibly strong event structure you actually are responsible for. At the same time, know what you're teaching and training. Keep simplicity first, don't make everything too complex. Add a philosophy to your team, share added value, assign ownership to your leaders, actually drive that team movement into the right direction. I'm helping our leaders with all of that, and at the same time I report a lot of stuff back to the company. So I see my role and my function actually being the interface between the field leadership and the company, because I can carry some understanding out of your life and your daily routines back inside the company, so that we as a company can serve you better, because the philosophy is actually that the growth of the company is directly proportional to the strengths of its leadership. And the more we can support the leadership, the stronger they are. And strong leaders take care of everything else. I mean, you are the guys and girls running a strong field, being able to run a strong organization. And we just want to make sure that we can support your utmost best, especially with all the growth we see ahead of us.
So what in your opinion, why are we successful at this point in time? The company has gone in the last couple of years through a massive amount of success. Why is that just all of a sudden come about?
Sorry, why is it?
Why has that all of a sudden come about, in your opinion?
Yeah. Sorry, I had broken up acoustics. In fact, if you look at on a global scale, we grew in the past 2 years about 25% in Europe alone. We actually doubled the sales. I mean, this is massive, and I think there's many reasons why this has happened. It's a reason that's out there outside the Juice Plus company, because especially for the younger demographics, which we were able to attract. Our business opportunity became a plan A, in traditional education, traditional jobs, going for 30 years in the same profession and then retire for a gold watch and some retirement payments. Nobody really believes in that model so much. So young people looking for autonomy, freedom, they want to put a dent in the universe, they want to be self-employed. So our opportunity becomes more interesting. In the old days, we were a plan B or a plan C. We attracted a much older demographic, and it wasn't those who wanted to do it firsthand. It was part-timers, or it was people who tried a lot and couldn't make it and finally kind of stranded with us. I mean, I'm drawing it a little black and white right now, but that's actually one of the major shifts. The other thing is, of course, communication is much easier, not just through social media, but through technology. And once you start embracing technology, you can actually reach the world and you can be much closer to your people. I mean, there might be people thinking about Facebook whatever they want, but honestly, I believe that you can actually take care of contacts. You wouldn't take care at all if there wasn't any Facebook. So it's added value, and we have the chance of measuring what's going on out there. I'm actually using Facebook hours and hours and hours per day, even in my function, because it's the easiest way to embrace the people, be close to them, and measure their temperature. I see, I follow all of you. I mean, I'm a stalker, right? I'm really looking at what you do, how your mood is, and from what you post and where you are. I know what meetings you have. I know how many people, was it successful? I even know what mood you're in, and I even know the birthdays of your spouses. So that's good stuff. And if we all do the same thing, guess how much information we can share with each other, seen over everybody, not just seen over one person. And since our business is a communication business, this is one of the reasons why it works. The third one is, I think the word about Juice Plus spreads around. If you look at our product, it's just an amazingly well-researched product, which has a track record, a successful track record of over 20 years. And I think when Juice Plus was launched in the 90s, nobody was reading about wellness or nutrition, and nobody could really think about starting to eat fruit and veggies in a capsule. But today, it's almost odd if you don't take any nutritional supplements, right? I mean, what, you still believe in normal food? You don't take any nutritional supplements, kind of? That has also totally changed. So there's a lot of things that are actually playing for us. And all these things combined together with the great leadership we have, with the heritage, but also with the new opportunity, with the management, all these things combined make us a very attractive business. More and more people look into and get started with, you know. So I think there's a lot of great things that are counting for us, towards us. And I even believe if you look at the next year, 2016, we experience an even further and even more massive success than we've been experiencing over the past 2 years.
Absolutely. And, I know that you go around and you meet lots of different teams throughout Europe. And, I'm fascinated by some of the things that you've been talking about in terms of the philosophy and building a team identity. I mean, what do you see that makes a team successful within our business?
Yeah, this is one of the things we looked into really deeply, because our dream is, of course, to kind of leverage the success some of the teams, or actually a lot of teams right now, more and more teams are having. We want to leverage that for everybody. You know, we don't want anybody stay behind. But that's just the way it is. Some have really figured it out and fly already. Some are still looking, and we try to kind of get this together. So I did a project where I was actually sitting behind locked doors with some of our real cracks, you know, those where we believe who just cracked the code of today's business. It was about social media, but not only that. Social media actually turned out to be just a tool, just a platform where you operate on. But what we saw is, after we looked into what they did and what we looked from it from a compliance standpoint, but also from a sales standpoint, right? But a few minutes later, after talking about that, we actually became interested in profiling these leaders. So we looked into what kind of people are they? Why are they going the extra mile? How are they actually educating their teams? What is the infrastructure they put in place? What is it that creates, they are not a team, they are a movement. What creates their movement? What is actually the philosophy they have so that all these people follow them? Yeah, whether it's Unstoppable or Move Club or the Rhino movement or the Princess movement, or I mean, there's many more coming right now, and they all have a philosophy. What we also see that they have a lot of added value they offer to their teams. And if they wouldn't have a team, they stay away from any politics. They have a culture created in their teams that doesn't stop with their own genealogy. You know, they kind of open up and learn like a sponge from each and every one. They are positively looking in each other's working ethics, trying to learn from each other. They put their learning curve very steep. That's actually what we found out, and I think this is the elements that work. At the same time, those leaders are also branding themselves a lot. You know, I mean, they are working on themselves. They try to be their very best on social media. They try to become great role models. They actually share their own values, and they show the personal growth they went through. So the combination of creating a movement with strong team members where everybody has ownership as a team, versus, or at the same time, creating their own brand by becoming a strong individual, just sharing their personal values, which makes them attractive, makes them become great ambassadors, again, to their team. There's synergy there, right? That is actually what was so fascinating, what we figured out. And what we created from that was what we call the blueprint. The blueprint is actually kind of the map out of a helicopter perspective on what the entire components are from a business standpoint and from a personal and a team standpoint of what needs to be done or needs to be created in order to create such a movement or be part of that movement in a successful way as well. And it helps us and our leaders to identify the white spots that you find on each and every person's map. So that was a real breakthrough for us, and we are starting to leverage that with the leaders. And that was what you were hearing in England the other week when we shared it with the top 25.
Yeah. So Sven, where do you see this all going? I mean, you know, what's the future in terms of 2020? What do you see, you know, kind of our business, where do you see it going, and where's it going to go? Are we all kind of going to become massively successful and even, you know, kind of take over the network marketing industry? Where do you see it all going?
Who knows that, right? Times change so fast, and we got to be so flexible, so open, that we actually don't know where it takes us. But I believe the only way is up, right? So we are going to go up further. We're going to rely on also the creativity and the autonomy of all of you. You know, we want to grow together further with our leadership. We listen to our leadership well when it's constructive and helpful, and we are building some really tight bondings and tight relationships. So I see that as a team effort, and if we do that right, this can only take us to our dream to become a billion-a-year company in 2020, which we're going to celebrate, as you all of you know, or most of you know, in Dubai with a convention of with over 10,000 people. That is our dream. That's our goal. But it's still a long way. It's still over 4 years to go. And we got to get our act together. I think we all have to up our game. We do that on the corporate side. We just had an internal strategy meeting today with the top management where we're talking about exactly about all these things. And the leadership's got to up their game as well. So it's about to get the sleeves up and let's go to work. But I think the Juice Plus company is in such a great place. We have all it needs. It's just aligning perfectly. There's no doubt that we'll head towards massive success and that we'll all be able to realize our dreams, which we have with this company. And so I see it going in a very good way. I think the time of pain, which we've went through a little bit over the past 2 years throughout all the changes, it was like combining the analog and digital world, combining the offline and the online business, combining generations, combining different product mixes. That was a lot of pain that was created, and I think we've overcome that pain. Now we have that wide umbrella called Inspiring Healthy Living around the world, where everybody finds its space under. Just talked about this in all the conventions on the NLCs, and we've mastered that, and now we have a great foundation to really go and conquer and become strong. So I think the hard times are behind us, and now we have a lot of great opportunities if we get our acts together, and it's back to daily business where we want to help you, of course.
Okay, so that's all very positive, and looking at like 2016, let's not look at 2020, 2016, what kind of things, special things that are coming up that we should be focused in on in terms of as a group, our group especially are very focused in on the products. We tend to lead with the products as opposed to the business opportunity. What things are coming our way in 2016 that we as a group should focus in on, do you think?
Yeah, leading with the product is right. And it's actually more right than it was ever before, because it's so easy and so fast to generate customers today than, for example, in the old days where you had to have bugs on the windscreen in order to drive to a customer to make one sale. Today, if you just figure it out, you can make multiple sales a day, actually, if you do it right. So customer first counts more than ever. And then if you know how to convert it, if you have a system in place in your DMOs and your team knows it too, how to convert this into franchise partners, you will keep your company-wide ratio of 1 to 10, and you will also create faster team members and grow your organization. A lot of good stuff will come up. I mean, for the first time or for a long time, we'll actually launch not just one, but maybe 2 major new products next year. One early next year, I mean in the first half of the year, and another one in the second half of the year. It's not a secret. I mean, Dan Holzman's been sharing it on various occasions. One is a very sophisticated, very modern, multiple omega product, which is very important. It's a hundreds million market potential what that has. We believe that everybody is going to take that, the omega product, and then it comes to a vitality drink, but that's not something like a Christian energy drink. We are focused on mental alertness and brain power, and I think if you just look at the raw ingredients that are in that kind of drink mixed together, it's going to be one of a kind, and I believe this is going to be an incredibly powerful product. So with the 2 products, it will be easier for us to attract more people and even build our business around what we have. So that's one thing. The other thing is, from a leadership perspective, you got to refine your systems. We are going to talk much more about the blueprint and all the components that are needed in order for all of you to have your system in place, to team up with other leaders and to make it happen. I think this is very crucial. This doesn't just count for events in a traditional way, like events doesn't mean anymore, neon light, stage, and butts in the seat. Events means everything where people interact with each other. So a virtual event structure is very important. Groups are very important. Zoom calls like we do today, regular base, consistent, are very important. And I think it's very important to up the game here as well. Also look at the DMOs. We as a company will be happy to provide you more tools. So especially when you as a group feel you need something where we can help you with, don't hesitate to speak up and let us know. We'll serve not only markets, we'll serve leadership. We'll serve leaders even on an individual base to help them to get better and to get stronger. And that's all what's coming up in 2016. So a lot of work down in the trenches. We are going to be very visible at events, support you as much as we can, and establish strong relationships with you as well. I think that's very important. People by people need to become strong there as well.
Okay, listen, you've kind of you've spoken for half an hour and you've been fantastic. I've kind of rattled all these questions. Last question for you, and this is probably aimed at the new people on this call. For the new people listening, for the first time, maybe some of them. I mean, in your opinion, what would you say it takes to become an NMD, and what's the possibilities for them in terms of the future that they have within this company?
First of all, the question you've got to ask yourself when you decide to go for NMD is you need to understand and be rest assured that this company is here to last. And I think what was also for me always important is that I know as long as I want it, the company is in place. And especially, it doesn't happen all the time, It's very rare in our industry. But what we have here is a top healthy company, a great foundation, a lot of experience, a great heritage, and an awesome future. So what you need to think about first is you're in a perfect spot, I mean, everything you invest in terms of time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears is going to be worth and well invested. That's one thing. What's very important. Secondly, what it takes to become an NMD, it's like a plane on a runway. The best saying I probably heard many, many years ago was that somebody told me, which might sound a little odd, but maybe you want to think about it, and then it starts making sense for everybody. That person said to me, a business like ours is easy to build fast and very hard to build slow. I compared that a little bit with a plane on a runway. You are now on a runway. You're the pilot, and you want to get this plane up there in cruise height. What you got to do is you got to go full throttle, at least for the ascending time. You got to give everything for a certain period of time. What it means is you got to make some sacrifices. You got to make some sacrifice in terms of hobbies, maybe family, maybe sleep even, in order to get your first 90 to 180 days to make a difference, to make a change. You got to send a little shockwave through your own life in order to understand that there's things that's got to change. Because if you don't change, if you don't sacrifice, nothing's going to change for you as well. And once the thing starts to kick in, it's also a great signal to your team leaders, because you set the benchmark here. Once it starts to kick in, then you can actually get back to a more normal mode again and start cruising. But in the beginning, it's very, very important to ramp up. And what was never possible in the past, we've seen people reaching NMD even in 6 months or even less. We have PMDs now in 6 to 8 months. This is nothing that you should be frustrated about if it doesn't work for you, because at the end of the day, you still determine your own pace. But who knows what happens? Who knows who you find, You might find people that are even stronger, more hungry, more willing to go all out than you, more willing to go out of their comfort zone. And within 6 months or within the first year, miracles can happen. And, I would start believe in these miracles. And even if you don't get your goals, set ambitious goals, even if you don't get it, I say a goal that isn't reached wasn't a bad goal. You just need to give it more time, right? So I would be very serious. The timing is just perfect. The circumstances are great, and you are just embedded in such a great group of leadership with all the experience and the heritage. I mean, come on, there's no limits. I would go all in. I would go all in, at least for a commitment for 90 to 180 days until next summer, and then life can already be very different.
Yeah, yeah. Well, listen, wise words, and I know that I'm sure James and I have heard these before, and we've repeated them many times ourselves. So you're not saying something that we haven't done and said before. I'd just like to say on behalf of the people that are on the call tonight, thank you very much. I'm going to hand this back to James, and James, if there is anything that I've missed that you would like to ask Sven, perhaps now's the time, or you would like to promote some events coming up.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Gordon, and thank you, Sven, so much. I mean, I've just taken 3 pages of notes, so that was absolutely superb, and I just love what you're saying. I love the energy with which you're saying it. I love the content, the detail. It's amazing, and it's fantastic to hear you be able to speak in such a sort of accomplished way, from that sort of helicopter view. It's extremely inspiring. Just to move on just very quickly, we do want to just promote a couple of other things. Next week, we've got Birgit Planger, who's going to be our speaker. Birgit Planger is an extremely good friend. We've known her and her husband, Wim, right from day one, since before Germany even started, and they just went on to achieve absolutely extraordinary success. So she's going to be our guest next week. And then next Tuesday, we're going to have an online company, or rather business presentation, product and business presentation next Tuesday. So put that in your diary and invite people for that. Now, this coming Thursday in London, we've got a meeting at the Down to Earth Cafe in Kensington High Street, opposite the Odeon Cinema. And we've got a huge rising star, someone who is on track to become the biggest earner in Europe, Sinead Kavanagh. And so she's going to be speaking with us on that evening on Thursday the 3rd at 7:30. So that's going to be amazing. And Gordon, you've got an event on next Sunday. You, both Michelle and Gordon, you've got an event next Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, we have. But also on the same evening of the 3rd of December, there's a big meeting down in Cardiff featuring Dr. Nigel Eccles. And he's actually down in Cardiff doing a talk down there for the Team Dragon that are all featured down there. And then next Sunday, the 6th of December, I'm going to come from the warm climates of Portugal all the way back to the coldness of the north and in London. And we're going to do another distributor training, team training at the Buckinghamshire Golf Club, 10 until 1 o'clock, featuring top speakers and just continuing the layering, if you like, of our training and information that we're sharing with people. So that's next Sunday.
Perfect. Brilliant. Thanks very much. And James Knight, if you're there, if you could just tell us a little bit about what's going to be happening with the Nigel Eccles event.
Yeah. So basically, everyone arrives for around about 7 o'clock. We start at 7:30. It's going to be a complete wellness and nutrition event. We really want to drive the awareness of the product and what it does. And also, Dr. Nigel Eccles is basically going to run the whole thing. He's going to be talking about disease prevention, what the doctors don't tell you. So we really want that event for people to bring their loved ones, people they care about, to this event, because, let's face it, disease is rife in our nation now. And I've got a lot of people that's nothing to do with Juice Plus coming, because I really want to share the awareness and see if I can help them in some way. So guys, this is pure nutrition, nothing to do with the business. Okay, we're going back to what we used to be more pushing, was all about the wellness and nutrition. So please come to that event, and we will be able to sit around and have some food afterwards and talk to Nigel as well. So
fantastic, James. Well done. Good. All right. Well, that's really, really exciting. So still, there's so much going on, so many things to go to. Obviously, we've got the Dublin event in early January as well, that on January the 9th. That's going to be absolutely amazing. So many things happening. And it's very, very exciting indeed. So that's enough.
Don't forget the Christmas party, James.
Oh, sorry, Christmas party. Dan, tell us all about that.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I never miss an opportunity.
No, come on, please.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the Team Wild Ones are hosting the Red and White Christmas party and event. It's at the Tooting Tram and Social in Southwest London. We've got Dr. Jeffrey Montague-Smith, Charlotte Bryan, James Knight, Sally Murray. Loads of different teams contributing. Starts at 6 o'clock. Speakers will be done by 7:30, and then the rock band comes on at 8. So get yourselves along. bring your clients, bring your prospects, and obviously bring your teams. So cheers, James.
All right, brilliant, Dan. Thank you very much indeed. That's a brilliant way for us to finish off this evening. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Sven. Thank you, Gordon, particularly, for organising everything tonight. And we'll look forward to seeing you very soon. So thank you very much indeed, and bye for now.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sven. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Thanks, Sven.